Hello.
Hello, hi Shreya.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, so welcome to the Python training. And before going ahead, I would like to have your intro so that I could take the lecture on that basis only. I would like to know your background, whether are you from coding background or you are new to that. So just quickly introduce yourself and then we can proceed ahead. Okay.
Okay. My name is Shreya, and I'm not from coding background. I've done my undergraduate in mechanical, and I'm doing my master's in information systems.
Okay.
So yeah, I do not have so much of knowledge in this computer background and coding background.
Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay, so
Mm.
okay, definitely. So we'll start from the very basic. Don't worry. So
Mhm.
we'll cover everything inside for in Python, and
Yeah.
even if you don't have any coding background
Mm.
experience or knowledge, so we'll
Okay.
take it at a very basic level, and then we'll move to the advanced level. Okay.
Okay. Am I the only one now in the class or?
I think it's your demo class, so I think you are the
Oh,
only one.
okay. Sorry. Yeah, sure. Okay.
So after this demo class, so we can continue with the classes. And I think if you have opted for the one-to-one class, so you'll be given a one-to-one class. And otherwise, if you are in a group, so you'll be given a
Oh,
group.
yeah. Yeah, sure.
So so before going to the Python, uh, so I'll actually tell you. So already you must be aware of all the coding languages. I think you must have heard of it, correct? So
Yeah.
Python, you have heard of it. So
Yeah.
similarly, all the competitors of Python or means all other languages, have you heard of them? Means have you heard of C plus
Yeah,
plus,
I have. Yes. Yes.
Java? Yeah. So
Yeah.
you at least you know that they are the languages, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So now, when you know that they are the languages, so you would be definitely knowing that language is nothing but a way of communicating with each other, correct? Means if you talk
Mhm.
about language, general language, that we use for communicating with each other. So that
Mm.
is the whole purpose of that language is to convey our message or convey our uh, uh, convey our feelings to another person that is or who is listening to me, correct? So that's the
Yeah.
main aim of having this language. So the
Mm.
same in the on the same pattern, this programming language also works. Okay, so the language
Mm.
and the programming languages, we are actually trying to communicate with our system with a
Mm.
certain language. So that is what a programming language is. So that programming language is on the interface. You are given one interface, and there you are writing a certain code, and that code you are writing because you are able to get that. Okay. So now,
Mm.
and also the same code machine is also able to get it. So that is uh, uh, removing the gap between machine and human. Correct. So that is a
Yes.
kind of uh, a common place. I think that is understood by both human as well as machine. So that's what the job of a programming language is. So even if you
Okay.
means it is nothing like the always this Python only does the same thing or does it for you. It is done by all the language, be it
Okay.
JavaScript, be it C Sharp, or any other language that you have. Correct. So
Okay. Yeah.
so yeah, people tend to learn Python. People tend to learn C Sharp. People also is happy with learning, happy in learning other languages. Okay, so
Mm.
it's nothing like ki only Python can be learned. Any language can be learned if you have keen interest in learning that. Correct. So, but
Yes.
I think you wanted to learn Python. So may I know the reason why you wanted to learn Python?
Um, because right now like I am trying to learn Python because it's kind of simple compared to Java and
Okay.
yeah, because I don't want to go into much deep into coding thing in the coding field
Oh.
because I'm mostly looking forward for like data engineering,
Mhm,
uh, data science, and data analysis,
mhm.
and Python SQL. I'm
Okay.
looking in these areas,
Mhm.
uh, not completely in core Java or any other thing, or full stack or any other thing.
Okay. So yeah, means I understood your requirement. Like you are means you wanted to learn Python because you are having a you are doing a master's in data science and all.
Mm, yeah,
So definitely Python is an important language there because in Java and all, it's very difficult to do that, difficult to learn.
without Python.
Yeah, without Python, you can't even do that. So that's
Mm,
the whole criteria. Means so yes, so we can actually start with the Python. Okay. So
okay.
okay, so I'll share my screen and
Yeah.
okay. So I think Python is a programming language that we all know. Okay. So
Mm,
Python is a programming language, so that we are able to that we will be writing in our machine, correct? So now
yeah.
how that language is getting broken down and also the machine understand that language and also it is able to interpret that, correct? So I think as you
Mm,
told that you don't want to go much into the coding language, but I think if you are learning Python, you'll have to go deep into the language.
mm,
Okay, so if you learn any language, it's same. There is no
okay.
difference in if you are learning Python, it's easy. Okay,
Mm,
so concept is same for learning all the languages, but I think it's the what is easy is the way you write a code. Okay, so only that is the
mm,
difference. So I think if you
mm,
write a code in Java, so for writing
mm,
a so for getting a single line of output, you'll have to write 10 lines of code in Java, whereas in Python,
yeah.
you will be doing the same thing in a single line of code. Okay. So that's the
Mm,
only difference. Otherwise, if you talk about the programming language, I think it's all same. You have to learn everything in order to write a code. Means you want to do coding, correct? In Python.
mm, mm,
Yeah, so if you want to do Python coding in Python, you'll have to learn it from the very basic level. Okay. So
okay.
very basic level is, I think, you should be knowing how Python is being understood by the computer. Okay, and how computer understand Python and how it is able to give me the output. If we are writing anything to the editor or for Python
Yeah.
in Python console, how computer is able to break this language into a desired output that we want. Okay, so we write something on the screen so that we get the output according to us, correct? So if you are
Yeah.
trying to print something on the console, so it should be printing. If it is not printing, so there is a fault, means there is an error in the code. So that's why it is not printing. So uh, so it always user always expect that he has written the code. The answer should be in his favor, correct? It should not be
Mhm.
in the favor of machine. So
Yeah.
yeah, so now the starting from the end. So starting from writing a code and then machine understanding that code and then giving me the output. So this is a complete cycle of a coding code, correct?
Mm,
So you
yeah.
write a code and then machine reads that code and then machine gives you the output due to that code, correct? So these are the three stages of a code. So now we'll talk about uh, what is programming language or what is language. Okay, So already if you see in my on my screen, so already I have written down few points. So that is saying what is programming language and also what are various category of programming language. Are you getting?
Mm. Yes.
Yeah. So uh, okay. So if you see if you see my screen, you will be able to find there are four languages that that we can point out. Correct. Procedural programming
Yeah.
language, object oriented programming language, functional programming language, scripting language. So now you will be amazed. There are so many languages. There are so many programming languages. But apart
Mm.
from this, you would have also heard of the name of the language like. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, so I think all of them belong to this fourth category only. Okay, so these are the
Okay.
category of programming language, and
Mm.
in all the languages in the world, so they all can be categorized in out of all these four languages. Okay, you
Mm.
see, I have written somewhere like in the scripting language category, I have included Python. Correct.
Yeah.
In the object oriented language also, I have included Python. Correct. See,
Mm.
see? Okay. So today I'll not teach you Python. I'll teach you how Python is. Okay. Means then I think if you are okay, then we can continue from the next class. So from we'll start
Okay.
afresh. Okay. So today we'll go around Python, not to the
Mm.
Python. We'll see how Python is coming and how it is giving, how easy it is to write the code. Okay. All these things we'll see.
Okay.
Okay, so now I think I told you means what is a programming languages means what are the category of programming language. So
Mm.
I'll open a small editor for you where you can write some code. Okay,
Okay.
you have never experienced writing a code, I'll show you, and then you'll be amazed. So if I talk about programming language in the older days, like okay, in the when means very long back, how people used to calculate the things, so they used to do it on the pen and paper. Correct. So if you wanted
Mm.
to add a very large number, so you'll have to write that number in the on the pen and paper, and then you'll have to calculate that thing manually. Correct. So but
Mm.
gradually what happened, people started growing and they started using this computer for doing all these heavy calculations. Okay, so
Mm.
computer was able to give you the correct result. That's why people started depending on the computer. So they started
Mm.
understanding the importance of computer. Yeah, means if I do a calculation on this computer, it will give me the correct output, because human is prone to do errors. Correct. So they can do
Yes.
errors, but machine cannot do that. So that's why people become reliable on the computer. So similarly,
Mm.
and also really computer was able to solve so many challenging problems. So that's why people started using programs, writing programs. Okay, so now if you see
Mm.
here in Python, if I do 1 plus 2, so it will give you 3. See,
Yeah.
I did not write anything, I simply used 1 plus 2, it is giving me 3. Correct.
Mm.
If you do any kind of addition, see here I am adding very long number, 2, very
Yes.
long. Okay, and if you
Yes.
hit enter, it will give you the output. See,
Yes.
so this is how easy Python is. You
Okay.
a very means I think a person coming from a secondary education, who has done his secondary level education and all, so
Mm.
he can also, or if he has passed 10th or 12th, or means 8 or 9, then also if he is given like this a statement, so he'll be able to identify, yeah, means this is a normal addition, and it is giving me the correct output. Correct. So here we have not used anything, it is a simple addition. If you want to
Mm.
do multiply, so you can also do that. 12.4,
Mm.
it will give you the output. Correct. So
Mm.
so now the question is how this
Mm.
addition got, means how computer was able to do this. Correct.
Mm.
How it
Yeah.
this calculation in the back end and it is giving me the output. Okay. So now
Mm.
I'll tell you. So if I wanted to print your name, okay, so I'll print
Mm.
hello Shreya. Okay,
Mm.
see, it will print hello Shreya. See, so what we are doing, we are trying to write printing something and it is printing, correct? So
Yes.
internally, Python is trying to give me this output. Okay, I'm asking
Mm.
Python to give me something and it is giving me. Okay, so
Mm.
there is
Yeah.
someone who is working in the backend, correct? So it is nothing
Yes.
like you write it and it happens on its own. There is something
Mm.
which is actually working in the backend. So
Mm.
something is an interpreter. Okay,
Okay.
so that interpreter is actually that is also a small program only that works just behind this. Okay, so if you write
Mm.
a very long code, okay, so you have a very long code written. Okay, so
Mm.
we are writing print. So I won't write all those codes. Okay, so if you have a very big file and inside that you have written 100 lines of code. Okay, so now
Mm.
what happens in the backend in Python, that what it will do, it will start from the beginning of the file and it will stop till the end. Okay, till the end it will go, and it will then one by one it will try to check whether that line contains error or not, and then it will give you the output for that line. Okay, and if
Mm.
any error is found out in any of the line, then and there interpreter will stop and it will come out. Okay, come out means
Mm.
it will not give any output to you. It will say that I have encountered an error in your file. Okay,
Mm.
and then it will
Mm.
stop there. So this is the
Yeah.
job of an interpreter. So
Mm.
interpreter is actually there in the Python. So Python is also called an interpreted language. It is clear?
Mm. Yes. Mm.
Yeah. So Python is an interpreted language, correct? So now, okay. So if it is an interpreted language, so what are other things that actually does this job? Okay. If you talk about other languages, so they have got a compiler. Okay. Compiler
Mm.
means whatever code you write in any editor, so that compiler job is to compile that code into desired output. Desired output means you compile that code into machine level code. Okay,
Mm.
so that machine can understand that. Okay, so here
Okay.
the same thing is done by interpreter as well. If you
Mm.
write something in the Python editor, so interpreter, what it will do, it will first check for the error. If it does not get any error, so what it will do, it will compile that. It will interpret that into an desired output or an byte level code, means the machine level code, so that machine can understand that, yeah, this is the instructions that I have got from the user, and now I have to act on that. Okay, so this is
Mm.
how a interpreter behaves or a compiler behaves. So now, why
Mm.
in Python I am using interpreter and why in Java they are using compiler? Correct. So this is also one of the question that you may ask. Correct.
Yeah, because they also have the programming language and they also
Hmm.
give
Hmm.
the needed data that needs to be printed. So I guess each and every programming language is an interpreter and a compiler.
Has a means not Programming language is not an interpreter or a compiler. Every programming language has got interpreter or a compiler in the backend.
Yeah, yeah, that is what I was telling.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
programming language has an interpreter,
Or a
has
compiler.
a or a compiler. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
now, what is the difference between interpreter and compiler? So that is the next question for us now. So we'll try to find out what are the differences between interpreter and compiler.
Mm.
Okay. So
Yeah.
uh, I told you that interpreter job is to read line by line. Okay. So if I have 100 lines of code, it will try to read from the beginning, and if it gets any error, it will stop then and there. It will not go for the next line. Understood?
Yes.
So this is the job of an interpreter.
Mm.
So if you have 100 lines of code or 1,000 lines of code, and then going
Mm.
through each line by line and then checking for the errors, it will take time, correct?
Yes.
So that's why we say interpreter is slow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And
Okay.
then if we talk about compiler, so compiler job is to how it actually compiles the program. It takes input as a complete file. It does not go line by line.
Yeah.
Okay. Even if your
Yeah.
code contains error, so you will get that error after that compilation is happening. Means the complete source code will be compiled once, and then at
Mm.
last you will get the error. Okay. So it does not do it line by line. Okay. So in that case, compiler becomes faster. Understood?
Mm. Okay.
Okay. So now compiler will create an intermediate file that is called as an executable or the binaries. If you talk about C sharp and other language, so they prepare a intermediate file that is called an DLL. Okay. So that DLL
Mm.
is a library. Okay. So that library can be used anywhere inside the code. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So uh, uh, have you used desktop application like in your machine? In your if you are having a laptop, you would have seen on your desktop you have a very big icon, correct?
Mm.
So those icons are nothing but an desktop applications, okay? And those
Mm.
desktop applications are an executable file. Executable file means they have an extension of .exe. Understood?
Mm. Yes.
Yeah. So now those executables are nothing but a output of a program.
Okay.
Are you getting? So they are
Yes.
nothing but an output of a program. Output of a program means somebody else has written a code and then he prepared that exe means the executable from his code
Mm.
and then he gave it to the user to use. Okay. So
Mm.
now it is not the job of the sender that he will give him every time that executable. Okay. Once he gave him the executable, that exe file, now he will run it every time to see the output. Okay. He need not to go to the source code to compile that again and get the output. Okay. So instead of
He
going
just
to the
needs the
source,
exe.
yeah, instead of going it to the source code, he can run directly that exe. He will get that same output. Understood?
Mm. Yeah.
So this is what is uh, exe, that is compiler job. Okay, so this exe is prepared or a DLL is prepared with the help of an compiler.
Mm.
Okay, so compiler
Okay.
job is to create an intermediate file that can be used for the execution purpose.
Mm.
Is it clear?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so now, so this is one more difference between interpreter and compiler. So interpreter does not create any executable file. Okay, so it does not create
Mm.
any intermediate file, but
Mm.
python uh, python works on an interpreter, correct? Python is an interpreted
Yes.
language that we have seen.
Mm.
But what happens, it is not completely true that python is an interpreted language. Python is also
Oh,
an programming language, because internally what python does, what python does, it creates a byte code. Means it creates a byte code in the middle, that is having an extension of .pyc. Okay.
mm.
So
Okay.
okay, have you okay, you have not used C sharp any time or any other programming
No,
language.
I'm not.
So what happened now means I will show you. If I have Visual Studio installed, I'll show
Mm.
you. Yeah, I have it. Okay. If you see here now, so I
Mm.
have written few lines of code, correct?
Yes.
Console.line and console.readline. So what happens? This is a .cs file, means some code is written inside this file. Now,
Mm.
if I execute it, if I run this, So in the below, you will be seeing at what it is saying. See here, what it is saying. It has prepared test application.dll. Okay,
Mm. Okay.
prepared a DLL. DLL is nothing but an intermediate file.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
intermediate file means once we run this program, it creates an intermediate file so that every time if you make some changes to this file, okay, so suppose again if some person come and he writes, he does not make any changes and he simply executes this code, okay, so what will happen, the now if you run it, okay, now if you run it, it will not again compile it because we did not, we have not done any change. So what it will do,
Mm.
it will go and pick up this DLL file and simply use this, okay, it will reuse
Okay.
this, it will not build it again.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, what I'll do, I'll build it again, okay, see here. See here, okay, it is showing some error, I don't know why. Oh, so now if you run it, it will show you that. Yeah, see here. The build
Yeah.
one succeeded. So it has prepared this test application.dll. Okay. And if you go
Mm.
to the file location, you can see it would have been created just now. Okay. So this is my file, and inside that it would have created that DLL. Okay, see here. So this test application.dll is being prepared in the backend.
Mm.
Understood? So if you see the
Okay.
timing, it has created on 12/12. Okay. In
Mm.
midnight. Understood? So,
Yeah.
and also you can see it has created a .exe file. See here,
Mm.
correct? So this
Nice.
.exe. So
Yeah.
this is the same exe file that you see on your desktop. Okay. So now,
Mm.
if I don't have this code now, okay, I'll close
Mm.
this file. I don't need this Visual Studio. I don't editor only. So now, if I don't have anything, so what I can do? I can get the same output by double clicking on this exe file. See here, I'm getting hello world. Okay. I don't have the source code, but even though I'm getting the output, same output, see,
Mm.
correct? So this is
Mm.
the power of compiler. Understood?
Mm.
So it creates an application in the in the middle, so that that
Mm.
application can be used by any time, at any time. Okay, we need not to
Mm.
have source code every time in place. We can directly use this application. Understood?
Mm. Okay.
So I think now, uh, at least you would have understood anything, correct? Means like how Python works and how compiles and how other language does the job, same job, correct?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think we have completed this language, and also now we'll see translator and compilers. Okay, translators
Mm.
is similar, same as interpreter. Okay, interpreter is also called as translator because it translates the code one by one. So if you see here
Mm.
what I have written, an interpreter is a program that executes code written in a high level programming language by translating each line of code into machine code on the fly rather than compiling the entire code into machine code before execution. Okay. So
Mm.
what the job of an interpreter is, in order to translate each line of the code into machine code one by one. Okay. Rather
Mm.
than compiling the entire code. Are you getting?
Yeah.
Okay. So the interpreter reads the source code line by line, analyzes it, immediately executes it without creating an executable file beforehand. Okay, it performs the same function as compiler but in different way. Unlike a compiler which translates the entire program into machine code and produces an executable file that can run independently, and an interpreter executes the program directly from the source code. Okay,
Mm.
so this is what interpreter is. So okay, I'll not go into this syllabus and all now. I
Okay.
think I need to talk outside the Python, because uh,
Okay.
there is a lot of things to go inside Python. We will actually see them in the later classes. But now, okay, are you comfortable now? Means at least you have basic understanding of language, correct?
Mm.
Okay. So now, uh, okay. So now, if you wanted to print something, see here, it is printing star, correct?
Mm.
So similarly, you can write anything in order to print it on the console. Okay. So similarly,
Mm.
let me give you one more example of this code. Okay. See here, what we did, I write, I wrote two lines of code and it is giving me numbers from 0 to 7. Understood?
Mm.
Similarly, you can write it any number of times. Okay. And if you want to print it starting from any line. Okay. And then
పొద్దున్నుంచి ఏడుస్తుంది. సరే ఫోన్ చేసి మాట్లాడు లేకపోతే చెప్పు ఎప్పుడైనా వస్తుంది.
you see here now, it is printing all the numbers that is there from 1 to 10,000 or 1 lakh, whatever I have given a command.
ఏంటి?
Okay. So what is happening now?
Mm.
All these things are getting printed now. Okay. Printed means it is being shown to you. But I think uh, I wanted to store all these values inside Python. Okay. So I want to store them and later on I want to reuse those values. Okay. So how the storage mechanism works in Python? So storage mechanism is nothing. Inside your computer, you must be having a memory inside it, correct? So memory is nothing but a human mind. Human has got mind, correct? It stores everything inside his mind. So similarly, computer has got memory. Okay. So if you write anything in the program, so all these things are getting stored inside some memory inside a computer. Understand?
Yeah.
So okay, let me stop this. Otherwise, it will keep on going. Okay. So now, uh, so suppose I was telling this, if I stored x equal to 10, okay, and now if I go and print x, it will give me 10. Why? Because Python was knowing that the value of x is 10. Okay. So somewhere in the memory, it would have stored the value of x as 10. Understood? So if you use anywhere inside this code, you will get the value of x as 10 only, because it is not replacing it anytime. Okay. It is every time fixed. Okay.
Mm.
So how the memory uh, management system works in Python. So memory management is nothing but every time you declare a variable, so Python internally creates a space for you where it can store the value like 10 you are storing here in the X. So it will create a memory space for you where it will put this 10 and it will have a pointer like X is a pointer to that location. Okay. So we can write it like this as well. X equal to Y equal to Z equal to 50. Okay. So what we are doing here, we are defining all X, Y, Z to 50. So now if you print X, Y, Z or anything, it will be 50 only. See, Y is having 50, X is having 50, Z is having 50. Okay. Print X, Y, Z, all will be having 50. See. So now what is happening here now? So X, Y, and Z all are pointing to the same memory location. I have a memory location in which I have stored 50, and then I am having a variable also. All those variables are pointing to the same location. Okay.
Yeah.
So now if you wanted to check the address of the location, that also you can check, means where the values is there. So how you can check that? ID of X. So this will give you the memory address of the variable where it is being stored. Okay, so now if you see the ID of X is this one. Okay, now we'll see the ID of Y. Okay, what happened? Okay, so if you see the ID of X and Y, both look same or different? Can you tell me? Can you tell me what is the value of X, Y, ID of X, Y, and Z? All are same or different?
Uh, yeah, all of them are same only.
Yeah. So the reason is the value 50 was stored inside Python in a single memory, and all these variables, they are pointing to that single memory only. So that's why the ID of all X, Y, and Z is same. Are you getting?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah. I was. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mm.
So this is how Python internally stores the variable. So what are variables? How it behaves? All these things we'll study in the later classes. But I just wanted to show you the memory and all, means how Python actually treats them in the backend. Okay. So
Okay.
just to make you curious, I think this is how simple Python is. Just I
Okay.
showed you all these things. Okay. So,
Okay.
okay. So today I think that's enough for today's class. And if you find Python to be interesting or any other language to be interesting, you can definitely tell the team and they will arrange a class for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
And when you want this class to happen, means any timing preference?
Um. No. Maybe. Sometime in the evening or
Sometime in the evening,
anytime. Yeah. 8 o'clock in the night.
8 o'clock.
My 8 o'clock. EST 8 o'clock timing.
Now there is
Oh, it's 12 o'clock in the night, right?
in US.
In US? No.
No, no. In
No.
India, it is 12 o'clock in night.
Yeah.
In India, it is 12 o'clock in the night.
In US, it is
Day
2:43.
2:43, correct. Okay. So I am saying you, uh, can you have the class in morning for you? Means in morning, are you free?
What time?
Like
Your morning, my morning.
not means I think your morning,
Yeah, I'm free in that at that time.
like from 9 to 10,
Yeah, sure.
9 to 10 you are free.
Mm.
9 to 10 Indian. So what will be your timing for that? Let me do that.
And little maybe 6:30 p.m.,
6:30.
7:30 p.m. in the evening. Yeah.
Uh, that will be too early for me. So if 9 p.m. in India, and what will be the USA?
9 p.m. in India.
It will be 11:30
Yeah.
morning, correct for you?
Yeah.
So that will be fine, or
Yeah, that will be fine.
so then you can tell this time preference to the team. They will arrange this.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Then I think we'll close for the day. Um,
Okay.
okay, definitely you can ask them the syllabus of the course. Okay, means what we are going to cover in this Python training. I
Yeah.
think I can show you if you want. Already we have
Okay.
it listed. So if you see, we'll be covering from core Python to advanced Python. Okay. So we have the core
Okay.
Python and as well as advanced Python. Okay. So inside advanced
Okay.
Python, we have topics like uh, OOPS and all. Okay. And apart from advanced Python, we'll also go through pandas and numpy.
Hmm.
Okay. So that way
Okay.
they are the most important topics for you because you will be dealing them in the data science, correct?
Yeah.
Data science and machine learning. Everywhere this pandas and numpy library will help you. So we'll complete all these four topics during the course of this session.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Okay.
so you'll get a copy of this course. You can go through them and
Mm.
start from the tomorrow is Friday. Yeah, tomorrow we can continue. Okay. So do you want the classes to happen on weekends as well or no?
Yeah, that's fine. Weekends, weekdays, any of the days, that's fine.
Okay. But I won't take classes on weekends. Uh,
Okay.
so I think
However, it is convenient for you, I'm fine with it.
okay, then I think yeah. So mostly on Saturday and Sunday I don't take classes. So from Monday to
Okay.
Friday we'll have classes. And
Okay.
Saturday and Sunday it will be a rest for you. You can revise.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, thank you. Bye.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.